When I first saw him on a website, he was a 6-year-old boy, just doing race cars, just kind of normal, cute little boy, and I thought, this is my son. And I heard his story. His story was just so sad, just, hours old, abandoned, kind of meant to die, and a stranger found him, and he had been in the orphanage ever since. So at 18, God put on my heart to adopt. I went off to college, got married, had 2 biological kids, and then we adopted Macy in 2012. And she just thrived. We were ready to do it again in 2015. Now that adoption was a little bit quicker because we kind of knew what to do with the paperwork, and we didn't get a lot of information. We especially didn't get the word autism. 2 weeks before we got on a plane to go to get him, the social worker calls me and says, you need to know that he's not potty trained, and at 6 he does not speak. So we got over to China, and they give you temporary custody for the first 24 hours, and then you make a decision. Do I still want to adopt this child? Can I handle him? And the guide kind of looked at us like we were crazy and said, we could just take him back to the orphanage and just cancel the adoption. I was just, we were terrified. I had tears in my eyes, and I look across, and my son is watching the whole thing, my 8-year-old, from across the room, so he's not knowing what's said. But then they have the orphanage nurse say, can I just go take him for a walk while y'all make a decision? And so she takes him, and all of a sudden my son starts panicking, my 8-year-old, just like, you're taking my brother, you're taking my brother. And at that moment, it was like, okay, like God was just such confirming us through a child's eyes looking into the situation that he just sees his brother, and I see, all this fear, like, how can I do this? And so then it was like, okay, God, okay, we have to trust you in this. Like, you don't tell us to not do hard things. There were some hard seasons, and there were some not so hard seasons, and we just poured in all the therapy, and I didn't know what I was doing. Half the time I just thought, if I do so much therapy, if we do all the right things so we can get him developed and he can be normal, and that was my goal. And but it was severe autism, and that didn't work like that. So we moved closer to family in the Dallas area, and in 2019 we moved to 18 acres and built a house that would kind of be our forever home. This was set up to be a long-term thing with Paxton. He loved the chores, and I could take him around on the side-by-side, and he had just a lot of room to roam around.
What are you doing? You gonna ride the goat? Don't pull his hair. Don't pull her hair, though.
We were doing well in 2022, the end of January. My family went through divorce. That, of course, turned our lives upside down. I was not okay. My kids were not okay. In Paxton, felt the tension, and then also going through puberty, which is hard on regular kids, but with severe autism, that just kind of manifests itself as agitation and destruction, things like that. And by May, I was just in constant contact with his doctors and just trying to figure out how to help him. He was so agitated, he wasn't sleeping. He went from going to a full day of school to just not even be able to make it an hour, had to be watched just around the clock. And so the doctor told us that maybe to stabilize him, let's take him to a psychiatric hospital. He didn't exactly know what was going on, and just having to hug him and say, this is not where we leave you. We'll see you soon, and not even knowing when soon would be. It feels like I failed. It feels like I felt like this is not the plan, Lord. Like you led me to this adoption, and I can't take care of him. I can't, you know. Of course, the plan was to get him stabilized in psychiatric hospital, bring him home. So during that time, though, unfortunately, Paxton, he couldn't come home. I mean, he wasn't getting better. So he basically went into the system. He went to a host home first. Then he went into a group home. And I liked the care that he was getting. He had structure. He was in a good special needs school. But then he snuck out one morning and got into somebody's house. Of course, couldn't happen again because I didn't know if he would be shot. And this was a great group home. But what the thing is, the group homes, they're usually in very small houses. It's in a neighborhood with the houses on top of each other. So even when the caregiver went out after him, she didn't know which house to go to. And that's just one of his behaviors. He elopes, he doesn't have boundaries that keep him safe. So he just bulldozes his way through. And that's what he did with this. And I knew that this was it. And we had to take him to someplace that would keep him safe because that was the priority. And that was Abilene State School. And then we got to transfer to Lufkin State School. So still 90 minutes away. And I see him at least twice a week. I'm in contact with all of his caregivers. And I know he's getting good care. But that doesn't diminish the fact that he's in an institute. And I want him home. And I wanted to be taken care of in a community and not an institute, basically.